Good morning.
Good morning.
In November, I spoke about the unsustainable cost of compliance and unfunded mandates with Havanese dogs. In February, I called for nuanced responses to the challenges we face with cats. Thanks to all those who offered feedback or made specific animal requests. What follows is an attempt to meet those suggestions and requests as I share with you brief thoughts on yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Note, I picked up a new artificial intelligence tool last week, text to video. Enjoy. It's not. This is not. There we go. Part 1, yesterday. A lot has happened this past year, and Faculty Assembly has remained engaged. To trumpet a few highlights, Vice Chair Toby King led a team of faculty to bring forward a report to President Hans on liberal arts education as career readiness. Another Assembly-led team created recommendations on academic program review policies, which were largely adopted by our provosts, and additional work continues on micro-credentials, leadership development, and academic freedom, and we did have a wonderful visit from Governor Holton on cybersecurity. This year, I was invited to speak with faculty leaders at 9 of our campuses. The message of strategic engagement to address the realities we face has been well received. I've also met with legislators to hear their ideas and to advocate for system priorities. While at the legislature, I posed for this next picture with the UNC School of the Arts fighting pickle. Contrary to your eyes, why is it not there? Contrary to your eyes, I did not dance with the pickle. This is yesterday's technology. But higher education continues to face challenges that require nuance. Perhaps the philosophy of yesterday can help. John Stuart Mill wrote the book On Liberty, and he said the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. His own good, either physical or moral, is not a sufficient warrant. Over himself, over his body and mind, the individual is sovereign. For Mill, free speech is the pathway to truth, while censorship protects bad ideas from scrutiny. For Mill, being offended does not constitute a harm sufficient to restrict liberty, speech, or the pursuit of truth. Too often, higher ed has fallen short of Mill's high standards by policing speech, enabling cancel culture, coddling the offended or the traumatized, all at the expense of liberty. In so doing, we have lost public support and reduced student resilience at the same time. For Mill, we should defend free speech in every possible case, as exposure to other ideas either proves us wrong, partially wrong, or reinforces the correctness of our view. Thus, Mill sees free speech as the foundation for free inquiry and its corollary, academic freedom. It is my contention that a shift toward the ideas Mill championed will best promote our search for truth, improve public support, and better prepare students for success after college. I do not think I'm alone in this and took great interest in a recent op-ed by President Hans. Quote, scholars should not face political litmus tests from anyone, not from an accreditor, not from a campus administrator, and not from a federal agency. Research thrives best in an atmosphere of academic freedom, and that's the atmosphere we want for the UNC system. The faculty greatly appreciate the President making this case on our behalf. Thank you, Mr. President. Part 2, today. One way to describe the challenge we face today is a battle between liberty and control. Put visually, the champions of liberty like Mill perpetually face off against a wide array of forces of control. I selected Karl Marx on the right as just one form control takes that a lot of people have bet upon. History shows me that we should bet on liberty. Higher education needs more liberty and less control. The tension between liberty and control is also connected to administrative bloat, compliance, costs, and regulatory burden that must be addressed. Faculty were pleased to hear President Hans' remarks to the board last month where he talked about the need to address compliance policies, including system-level directives. To put another way, we are not agile or efficient enough because there are too many layers in our lasagna. Faculty agree. Assembly leadership drew from the president's remarks to create a survey which we distributed to all provosts, faculty assembly delegates, and to staff assembly. Here's a first look at the submitted examples and recommendations for your consideration. Call it a recipe for healthy lasagna. Note, healthier lasagna may require changes from the state, the system, and/or campuses. Our time is your money. Mandatory annual trainings, reporting requirements, processes for travel, purchasing, and grants, and all of the layers of approvals necessary have grown significantly in my 20 years in the system, and the survey responses concur. Each and every thing may only take an hour or two, but the real cost is that 1 hour for each thing times the number of employees, which we have up to 48,000. That's real money. Is there a real ROI here, or are we spending a lot for a box to be checked? In other words, is the juice worth the squeeze? Some sample quotes from our survey. Every time we're asked to do something more, it takes away from our real jobs. Stop wasting my time with compliance theater. Everyone wants to prove they matter by adding requirements. Those responsible for compliance see it as an end in itself, and if no one reads the report, don't require it. Senior hire hoops also came up from several administrators. Currently, to hire a senior administrator, campuses have to seek system approval for the position and the salary range before searching. Then when it's time to lock in the top candidate, our chancellors must go back to system to get approval to hire the previously approved position within the previously approved range. This adds work, delays offers, and has cost us top candidates who left for other offers. Why jump through the same hoop twice? Please consider ways to help our chancellors land the top-tier talent we need. Survey results also highlight the increased cost campuses pay because we are not permitted to save money by buying property insurance on the open market. Respondents at some campuses report perceptions of administrative bloat, redundant and inefficient systems and processes, and of course the arduous process to build or renovate. For example, this is a capital project guide showing just some of that complexity. Is there room for some improvement? Simply put, we are held back from our mission by red tape. The ground level faculty and staff see the issues most clearly as they have to wade through redundant systems on a daily basis. We cannot continue to require 1,000 yeses to do something, but only one no to prevent change. The time for change in streamlining administration, compliance, and procedures is now. Faculty want to be part of the team willing to stick their neck out for this cause. There are real barriers to overcome to make this important change. Some preliminary recommendations from our survey: shifting to a minimum necessary compliance approach, not the maximum until the bureaucracy feels safe. Restoring campus-level decision-making, holding individuals accountable who can't handle it, and not punishing the class because of one person. Include ground-level experiences of faculty and staff. Again, they have the most day-to-day experience working where there are issues. We welcome champions to the cause of freeing us from unnecessary red tape so efforts can be invested in achieving our shared mission. This pug for you is the face that will greet you for successfully reducing administrative and compliance costs. Our survey will run for the end of the month, and then my team will prepare a summer report for system office, the provost, and back to faculty and staff assembly. Part 3, tomorrow. Before I tie a bow on my third year in this role, I offer some thoughts about the future. What does a West Highland Terrier playing a banjo in the mountains have to do with our future? Well, the Faculty Assembly has elected Toby King, Professor of Music from UNC Asheville and banjo player, to be our next chair starting July of 2026 through 2028, possibly 2030 with re-election. Congratulations, Toby, and I encourage each of you to get to know him next year so that the good relationship we've built can be continued. Now I ask you to consider the year 2040, which is only 15 years away. Where will technology be in 2040? The entering class of 2040 is already 3 years old, and the graduating class of 2040 is already 7. What do we know about them? What majors and careers will the market demand in 2040? Remember, it takes us years to get a program up and running. How are we preparing for them? If we don't streamline our policies and processes now, we may not be fully ready to serve these students. One thing we do know from Vice Chancellor McIntyre's presentation in Ed Planning yesterday is that North Carolina may benefit from a 6% increase in high school graduates in 2040, while most of the country faces a demographic drop. This opportunity requires us to plan now to ensure that we get these students into the system, retain them, and graduate them fully prepared in the field students and our community needs to thrive. Let us not be distracted by battles of yesterday or today. In closing, what I'm really trying to say is, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here. It'll be better than before, because yesterday's gone, my friends. Yesterday's gone. This concludes my report.
You never disappoint. I'm very grateful that my report was before yours. Thank you for that. You keep us on our toes. Always something to think about.